Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back. As you saw, I posted an Echo review. Sorry, I get off on a slight rant tangent there. It wasn't planned. But anyway, this is not about that. This is the Masters of the Universe Revolution review. For those of you who did not watch the first series of Masters of the Universe Revelation, you should probably watch that before you watch this, and also go watch Revolution so you know what we're talking about, because there are going to be forewarned spoilers. Spoilers. I think it's been about a week since it came out. I watched it last weekend. So, yes, there will be spoilers. For those of you who don't know, this was Kevin Smith's, had taken over the Master Universe, and the idea was that it was kind of a continuation of the original series back from the 80s. And there's some slight variations, of course, with characters, and some involvement of characters, and some characters passed on and all that stuff. So I have the Revelation Part 1 and 2 reviews on the channel. You also notice a very discernible change in attitude from the first part to the second part. Because like I said, and when they did it the first time, it was split up into 10 episodes, and you got the first 5, and then you had to wait a month or so until the next 5 came out and continued the cliffhanger story. This time we only get 5 episodes. There is sort of a cliffhanger, which I'll talk about later, but it does kind of wrap up, at least for the time being. Some very positive things. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty solid. He-Man gets a good amount of focus. One of the big things that happens is King Randor passes. And one of the stories from last season was that, Teela's the sorceress, but she's not going to be stuck in Castle Grayskull. So there's a lot of progression of being, this character, and I don't have to be confined to this Grayskull for the rest of my life type of thing. And Man of Arms has moved up in rank, and then Andrea, I think her name is, she's the new Man of Arms, I guess. Even though she's a woman, but that's fine. And yeah, so Teela's a sorceress. He-Man has got his power back. At the end of the season, Skeletor got kind of taken over by this motherboard character that Trapjaw and Man of Faces was sharing. Was it Man of Faces? No, that's a good guy. What the hell is his name? Anyway, Trapjaw and the other guy. He's got the 3 eyes. Because Man of Faces is a good guy, isn't he? I'm mixing them up. Anyway, don't worry about the character right now. I'm not worried about it. But anyway, so they get Skeletor, so Skeletor kind of gets an upgrade. And that's kind of how it ended. Teela and He-Man kind of holding hands and being friendly and flirtatious. And Teela getting her awful haircut away and getting her nice, luxurious long hair back. Yay, thank God. So some of the characters that had passed were Mossman and Roboto, and a couple other characters had passed on and stuff in the last 7 weeks. Which my friend Frank said he didn't like it because they killed these characters. I'm like, well, it's kind of moving more of an adult territory. It's kind of giving some stakes to characters, So it's like it's accepting that death is there, but it doesn't have to be, So anyway, at the end of the last season, Evil Lynn had gotten the sword, and she was all muscled out and stuff, and kind of went crazy and turned on Skeletor and all that stuff. And anyway, Pre-Eternia, which is where you basically go. It's kind of their version of heaven, essentially. It's where you go and, when you're put to rest. But unfortunately for them, Pre-Eternia was destroyed last season, so Teela's trying to figure out a way to have Pre-Eternia restored so these people's souls have somewhere to go, so they're not just stuck in limbo. Before King Randor passes, though, they actually go to, I forget what the place is called, but basically it's Scareglow is in charge of all these, trapping all these souls and stuff like Fisto and Clampchamp are there, and Scareglow, still voiced by Tony Todd, awesome, is there, and Prince Adam goes with is it Cringer and somebody else, and I think Andrew's there too, but and they're trying to say, hey, please give me we just want our friends' souls back, and there's a big fight and some good battles and stuff like that, and then Teela gets involved as well, and Man of Arms, and then King Randor comes down to fight as well, but then when they're on the plane or whatever back to the thing, he collapses and all that, and it turns out he has been sick for a while, and he just wanted to go into battle one more time with his son and stuff like that. So yeah, it's sad to see King Randor pass, but it was a nice emotional moment. So now He-Man is kind of at the same crossroads that Teela was at, where it's like, now I have to be the sorceress, and does this mean I have to be? And it's like, you have to either be king or be the champion, so you can't be both. Or will you serve as this, or we serve as that? So he's kind of got an inner conflict. I would say the one criticism I'd say, and it's not really a major criticism, but like I feel like Netflix should have given them 10 episodes again. And they shouldn't have split them up either. Like I would like to not do that again, because that was kind of like, oh, why you gotta do that, but just because I feel like it kind of escalates quickly in terms of where the story goes and how quickly things happen in the 5 episodes, which is fine. It goes by fast. I mean, He-Man episodes are like usually 20 minutes anyway, so it's not like the most hour long, 3 hour epic, but still. It clips along pretty quickly. So anyway, before he can take the crown, though, this character named Keldor, voiced by William Shatner, shows up and says, "Hey, I'm your brother's ostracized brother," and all that stuff. And it's funny, they go into the backstory, and all I could think of was just like, and I know it ties into the comics somewhat, but like all I could think of was like, oh, it's Loki, because you have this champion king that's being made the king, and is basically Thor, and then you have this blue guy who could pretty much just be a frost giant, and he's been ostracized to this other place because he's not the king's true son. So I'm like, okay, so he's Loki then. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, so he comes and says, I was his brother and I was ostracized, and let me, if you don't want to be the king, let me take it on. And so He-Man, in his best, if you ever watch wrestling, in his best sting, totally trusts this man he's just met, and makes him the king. He also, I guess you can also relate to Christian Bale putting Miranda Tate in charge of Wayne Enterprises in The Dark Knight Rises, and then she's totally Talia al Ghul and stabs him. So, whoops. So yeah. So anyway, what we realize and we find out very quickly, which I think they should have also played that review a little too quick, but like I said, 5 episodes. And also, it's kind of obvious who Keldor really is. And if you guys have known anything about He-Man lore, Keldor is Skeletor before his, before he looked like this. And he's kind of got this long hair, and he's got a mustache and all that stuff. But so he kind of slowly manipulates and all that. But meanwhile, we also have Hordak and Motherboard. Motherboard, voiced by Meg Foster, who you might remember, played Evil Lynn in live action for the Masters Universe movie, which is kind of cheesy movie, but it's kind of fun in a dumb way. And so she voices Motherboard, and Motherboard, of course, is working for Hordak, who's always been kind of... He's pretty much the emperor to Skeletor's Darth Vader. Pretty much mistreats him, bows him out. And he's voiced by Keith David, who is awesome, and does a great job as Hordak. And so, obviously, his plan was to have Skeletor take over reigning Eternia and be the king. And he kind of also manipulates Andra to, hey, why don't we give these other people this upgrade to fight against this technology that's been in these people, because they attack this with this monster and all that, which was actually Motherboard disguised as Skeletor, but like being robotic and all this type of stuff, and kind of almost a virus that's turning them all kind of robotic and brainwashed. So it's kind of like, well, we'll do this and we'll do that, and and Skeletor, of course, as his usual Skeletor self, is braggadocious and gets slapped around and treated badly by Hordak. And Skeletor still voiced by Mark Hamill, which my wife heard the voice and was like, oh, the Joker. Mark Hamill tries so hard to not make it the Joker, but it's basically a little different, but it basically does sound like his animated series Joker. Sometimes you get to a variety of voices and you just do what you can. But I don't think Mark Hamill's not trying. It's not like he's just phoning it in or anything like that. He's still giving a performance and stuff. But it's just clearly like, yeah, this sounds kind of like the Joker. I like Chris Wood. I think he does a good job with the He-Man and Prince Adam voice. And it's great because him and Teela have chemistry. And Sarah Michelle Gellar voiced Teela last season, but now it's Melissa Benoist. I never know Benoist. I know Supergirl from the Supergirl series. but they're actually married in real life, so you could actually feel the real chemistry between them. And I did like that they leaned into the, will they, won't they kind of relationship, which I know can be cliche sometimes, but in the comics they get together, so deal with it. So yeah, and there's kind of a slow build of everyone saying, "Oh, you guys flirting," and then we know we're friends. We're friends. People can have friends. And there's also this dragon character, Granamar, which I don't really remember that character. I don't know if it was in the series. It might have been. It's been a while since I watched the original series, though I do have the complete series on DVD somewhere around here. So, here somewhere. It's here somewhere. I'll watch it at some point. But anyway, and so we find out Tila goes to visit him because she wants to use the magic from that to recreate Preternia with the powers that she has as a sorceress. So that's kind of what Tila's going on about, and she feels bad about King Randor not having a place in his soul to go. So Granamar is kind of a villain, but he's dying, and he's being tended to by Evil Lynn, who's trying to redeem herself, although she's not admitting that she's trying to redeem herself from last season. But she's been taking care of Granamar and stuff like that. And he finally decides to give in and let her do her thing. And she has this kind of, if you remember that kind of armor that she had, almost like, it looks like a snake type thing, she kind of wears that. It's an updated version of that. And she kind of has some more, she kind of turns green a little bit and has a different look. I thought it was kind of a cool thing. It kind of also made me wonder if they're going to bring the Snake Man in. I think that'd be kind of cool. Snake Man was a cool thing. There's also a couple other little obscure characters that I'm like, hey, I remember that character. Like there's the Grizzlor is in there, and there's a Snout, the elephant-like looking guy, and there's Leech. I remember Leech. I had Leech because he had the little suction cups, and you could stick him against the surfaces and stuff. So I was like, Leech. I wasn't disappointed. I'm disappointed that Beastman was not in the show at all. Like, he was in the last season, and it's just like, where's Beastman? Where's freaking Beastman? Where's Beastman? You know where Beastman is? He's right here. That's right, I got him his figure. Beastman! That's how Beastman looks, baby. I have toys. I've admitted this before. Here's Buzz-Off. Buzz-Off was in the series. I'm like, yeah, Buzz-Off. Yeah, so anyway, back to the story. So yes, obviously it's Kaldor manipulates Andra to be like, yeah, let's give these people all this kind of upgrades so that they can fight and defend themselves, which really what he's doing is building an army so he can overthrow Hordak and stuff like that. And he also gets a reveal. Motherboard knocks him upside the head, and he gets a reveal, and it's kind of a nice William Shatner talking to Mark Hamill moment where he's basically saying, I am you, this is what happened, and da-da-da. So that's why he slowly plots. Him and Hordak have a big fight, and he ends up not really killing Hordak, but at least wounding him well enough that, this will be our final battle, basically. So that Skeletor kind of upgrades himself well enough with the technology and the magic together to focus on taking down He-Man and stuff. Now, He-Man does get captured because of the way the magic was working and because his sword is getting upgraded by Gwildor, who they actually made canon that this Master Universe movie. So Gwildor's there, he's interacting with Orko, and there's kind of a bit of a competition between them, and he's trying to upgrade the He-Man sword. So He-Man actually goes down to Prince Adam, and Cringer goes from Battle Cat to Cringer because the things that Skeletor is doing is messing with the stuff that ties us. Hope this is making sense. I don't know if it is, yeah, so he's messing with the stuff, and it affects him, and he ends up getting captured as Prince Adam by Skeletor, and his mom gets thrown in there too, and stuff like that. And I know some people are going to be complaining like, "Oh, Tila's got to save the day again." It's like, guys, there were times that Tila had to save the day in the original series. You just don't want to remember it. It's like, come on, I've seen a lot of episodes. I know there's moments where the hero has to get saved by his friends. It's not the end of the world, and just because that friend is a female, guys, doesn't mean you have to be threatened by it. And that some people are, unfortunately, and they need to grow the freaking up. Anyway, so anyway, Evil Lynn kind of goes and begrudgingly helps Tila and stuff like that. And Skeletor chops Motherboard's head off and serves it to Hordak, and that's how that kind of escalates. And so it ends up being a battle with He-Man, and He-Man decides to combine his sword with the staff that Skeletor had, which Tila has, and they kind of combine, and then they basically both get an upgrade of sorts. So I think they're kind of equals in terms of power. She's still the sorceress, but I guess she's got some of his power, and they kind of share it together. And they have an epic kiss. Oh, Tila and He-Man kiss. How about that? So they're together. He-Man also kind of gets the Superman Returns from the comics after he comes back from the dead. He kind of gets the Superman Returns longer hair. It's the longer hair look, so no longer this look. They get some upgrade of their outfits and stuff like that, and their powers. So Tila works on restoring Preternia, which she successfully does, and Mossman goes there, and I'm like, Mossman, redemption. If only they'd done something for Alan Oppenheimer to actually have had a voice, but since they wasted him last season, the original voice of Skeletor. But yeah, so then Skeletor and He-Man have a battle, and he ends up taking the sword, which basically turns Skeletor right back into his old Keldor thing, and they lock him in Castle Grayskull. And this was all going good, and then they had this kind of weird moment where He-Man decides that there should be no kingdom anymore. We should be a democracy, essentially. And then it's just like, so no one will have power, and the power is to the people. And I'm just like, okay, that's kind of a weird choice. I think my wife fell asleep out there. But anyway, it's an odd choice. I'm not saying it's necessarily political, but it's also like, did we really need that? This isn't Earth. This is Eternia. It's okay to have a royalty thing. That's just, it's some places have that. That's just how it is. Doesn't mean you can't make adjustments and changes to it, but like it just feels kind of like out of character. But yeah, after all these years, and especially this is supposed to be a continuation of the original series, like after all these 30, 40 years, let's be a democracy now. I mean, we don't know how that's gonna go. And then they had Andrew running for. I'm like, Andrew's just kind of one of those characters. Like, she's better this season than last season, but like she's just kind of there. Like, I guess she's a character from the comics, but it's just like I don't care about this character. Why is this character here? And it's like she's okay, but she's just kind of there for me. I'm like, just go with the background there. It's fine. You're a background character. No one cares anyway. And no, let's not start anything. Oh, she's black. You're being racist. No, it has nothing to do with that. So it's just her character is just kind of bland. To me, she's just kind of there. And Tila never really had that kind of friendship with her in the original series because she wasn't there. So maybe it is in the comics a little bit. Maybe I've never read a lot of the comics. I just know a few things about it, but I don't know. So Andrew's not horrible. But I'm just like, oh yeah, let's make her in charge. Great. Thanks a lot, He-Man. You could have been King He-Man. But yeah, so I mean that's a little bit silly, but I can. It's a small negative. And then Evil Lyn joins the is it MODOK? No, it's not MODOK. What the hell's his damn name? He's got the little, almost looks like a bug helmet, but she essentially joins them because she's made this kind of heroic turnaround, and now she is Good Lyn, which I'm just like, oh come on. I'll be honest, guys. I don't like that they made Evil Lyn Good Lyn or had her turn against Skeletor. I'm not saying there couldn't have been a fallout, but like, I don't know. It just felt kind of silly to do that. Like it's Evil Lyn, like, and everybody turns on Skeletor. Like last year, I'm like Beastman turns on him. I'm like, yeah, I can understand they're always being mistreated by Skeletor all these years, but so yeah, there's that kind of element. I can understand that and wanting to involve the character, but it's Evil Lyn. Good Lyn just sounds stupid. Evil Lyn, there's a play off of words there, there's just like, come on. So I don't hate it, but it's also like, but yeah, it's still voiced by Lena Headey and stuff like that, so that's cool. But yeah, overall, guys, I thought it was a pretty solid show. I enjoyed it. It's an easy watch. Like I said, each episode's only like 20 minutes. Shatner's good, Hamill's good, Keith David's good. Everybody, the voice cast is solid. The characters have some decent arcs. And a very quick arc that goes through it. But like I said, you're just like, as soon as he's like, I'm going to give this over to you, you're going to be in charge, Keldor, of this entire kingdom. I'm like, oh, He-Man, pulling a Sting Horseman move here. But that's fine. It's this is based off a cheesy 80s cartoon that was meant to sell toys. It's not that deep, guys. But I still love it anyway. But then we get a nice little tease after credits. Hordak is hooked up and, is being taken care of by someone who is credited as the evil part of She-Ra. So, knock on wood, guys, we should be at least getting some version of She-Ra in the next season to be kind of a reluctant villain type of thing because she's under Hordak's, control. So that would be awesome. I would love to see that because what we last got of She-Ra was, I know a lot of kids liked it, and that's great. I hope they enjoyed it, and they deserve to have a childhood hero and stuff like that. But everything I read about that series, it just felt like not great. I didn't like the animation on it. The way they drew the characters was it's this weird Steven Universe looking thing. And I don't want to see Steven Universe She-Ra. I don't care of it. I get she's supposed to be a teenager, so that's how she's built. Okay, that's fine. But it just, I don't know. And then the whole thing built to, I think, her and Catra being in love, and that's how they'll say it. Meanwhile, my wife pretty much acclimated to it being an abusive relationship, essentially. And that's what she should influence. Fall in love with this person who's being abusive to you. Awesome! And it played out very much. I don't want to say anything negative, and obviously there's nothing against having those type of characters, but it just played out like lesbian fan fiction is what I've pretty much garnered from it. And they also disrespected the original people who made the original She-Ra cartoons. So it would be nice to see She-Ra, in this, Masters Universe thing. It'd be cool to see what they do with her and stuff. And I don't care. I don't care if you make a character gay or lesbian if it's, if it justifies it in the story and it fits things, it makes sense. By all means, go for it, But it's funny though, because in that universe, it's like Bo always felt like a character that if you were gonna change a character to sexuality, Bo felt, especially the way he was drawn, then it felt very much like, I feel like this character might be gay, And maybe some of the other characters you could go with that too. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with that if you're updating things, because you can have gay characters totally fine and write them well and make them awesome. And Dan Levy did it great. Schitt's Creek, just watch it, it's awesome. But I just think it was one of the things with that She-Ra thing. But it wasn't made for me. It was made for kids, and that's great. And they should have that representation and have something to watch. And I will never bash something that kids love. So if you love it, great. It wasn't my cup of tea. Not what I think of for She-Ra, but it's cool that we're potentially getting She-Ra in this series. Because I know there were some rights issues with DreamWorks and stuff, but hey, it'd be cool to see a version of She-Ra in this and see what they do with her and stuff. Overall, I think despite some of the heat that Kevin Smith took from the first part of the series, and in some cases it did feel like a bait and switch the way they promoted it, but by the second half, I was on board, and I'm like, okay, I see where they're going with it, and they were kind of deconstructing it and stuff like that. And I can understand now. Oh, we don't want to kill characters off. That's fine, but this continuation was always aimed at the people who watched the original series that are adults now. They're like me and probably their 40s, So it's not supposed to be like the cute, sweet little cutie cartoon where things are solved and no one dies. It's like it's fine to have those type of things. It's been years and years. So I think it's fine continuation. So overall, guys, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's an easy watch. Don't have a lot of complaints about it. Starting to lose my voice. Gonna need to get a drink. Check out Masters of the Universe Revolution, a continuation of the Revelation story. And it's pretty good. Thanks for watching, guys. I have the power.